Hi, welcome to Get Personal with Finance. Today I have a question, 3 financial mistakes I've made in my 20s. Okay. I've made many mistakes. So the financial mistakes, and by the way, I can think in this order. It's first I started investing in the stock market because it was so easy just to buy and sell stocks, and they were of course penny stocks that they were like $4 or $5, and then there were some stocks that were like $10, $20, so there weren't like expensive stocks. And I had a lot of success early on, and so I would double, triple my money. And I started very early when I was 18, and so it was just one of those things that I always wanted, I don't know about you, but like when I was younger, you watch these movies of business people where they get picked up in a limo, they fly first class, they just have a great quality of life that's just so cool, right? That really got me, and I made a commitment where I want to be like that guy, right? Like that person, with that kind of like freedom, and they can go to a fancy restaurant and that sort of thing. So, and the first thing that was easy, was the stock market. And I don't know about you, but like I was just looking back when I was 18 years old to my 20s, it's hard to sleep, right? And guess what? When you up late at night, there are all these infomercials about investing and things like that back then. And now the internet, you get a lot of AdWords and clicks or ad that probably is about investing or whatever, right? So kind of the equivalent. And I would sign up for these things, but it really intrigued me. So I started investing, and I started making a lot of money going to college. And I remember I'm always on my phone or, whatever, just looking at the stock price. And it's just so exciting and enticing. And I felt like, I was part of that in group, right? Like I'm making money, I'm a business person, I'm a professional. Anyways, that was short-lived. Well, not short-lived, but like, it was short-lived at the end. It really built me up, and then it just crushed me because it just got me to be more and more irresponsible. I mean, not like irresponsible, but like I started being, it's just, I thought that I was the exception to the rule, like the law of gravity doesn't apply to me, like I know better, like I was better than the best Wall Street investor, like I'm making good money. I'm making more money than my professor. Like, why do I listen to them? I thought I was like almost invincible, where when you're young and you think you know it all, and you get this confirmation when some of your decisions pan out, and you're just so I think it's one of those things where, you ever heard the saying where one of the worst things that can happen to you is early success? Yeah, this early success got me to be really negligent in my ability to really be an investor, because I had a misconception about an investor and investing in the stock market. I thought it was easy, I thought it was sexy, I thought it was cool. No, it's none of those things. It really isn't. It's got to be methodical. Anyways, but that's the mistakes I made, and it really cost me, to the point that it scarred me so much where I just didn't want to be invested. So that's my first mistake I made, was instead of building upon those mistakes I made and owning up to it and not being ashamed, but really recognizing it and learn and set my ego aside. I think my ego is really hurt, and so I just avoid it. I would have been so much wealthier today, because knowing what I know today, with the due diligence, with the emotional, I guess I'm a lot more stable today than I was before, and a lot more methodical and calm and collective than I was before. I would have made so much money investing in companies that the blue chip companies are massive today, right? I mean, I had all the opportunities to invest in those companies, but because it scarred me and I just said, oh, this is a load of baloney and the market's like a sham. But it's funny, when I started, it was amazing. And then afterwards, it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So that's my biggest mistake, was not building upon that failure, owning up to it, and start from scratch, and taking it one step at a time to really know what it's like to be a successful investor, trader, someone who invests in the market. I mean, looking back, if I can talk to myself and coach my younger self, boy, I would have been so far off. I just gave up and never looked at it until, until in my 30s is when I started investing again. So it scarred me that much. And then after that, I thought, okay, screw, like that was really bad. And then, in 2005, 6, 7, guess what? It was the real estate boom, right? So I got into real estate. So, and, and again, infomercials and these things that would tell you, oh, it's very easy to invest in real estate. So I got into that. Oh, I paid the money. I went to the seminar, so excited. I was gonna be the next, whatever real estate investor, right? And it was just so enticing and it got me. And I had some, I guess, success in a way that like I learned how to like put deals together and these things. Anyway, so you know how all that ended. It ended miserably. And so that then scarred me as well too. And then I stopped investing in real estate. Just to make the story short, I invested in land and these things and even in Mexico as well too, and lost it all. And, but again, the mistake I made there was they're good investment, but I did not do my due diligence. I didn't ask good questions. I took it at face value and that was it. I bought into stories and that was it. I didn't do good due diligence and it scarred me. So I was done with but had I, again, learned from that failure and still kept at it, and didn't let that just entirely discourage me where, oh, real estate sucked. Like I just came up with that conclusion. I would have been way better off today too. So in that order, it was like stocks, and then it was real estate. And then the third thing is just that I was really bad. Like part of my mistake was I did not have good education. I look back, and again, I'm not blaming, my parents or my family. I just didn't have that at the family level. I didn't have that at school. Actually, I did take a personal finance class, which is a whole other, I aced the class, of course. So in college, I actually had the highest grade of the class, but it just wasn't good education. I didn't have someone to really give me good perspective. It was so surface like, oh, real estate is good. There wasn't any depth to it. And that's what I hope to do with this channel, is to share with you great insight, like real things, real experiences. So that is probably my biggest mistake. And I didn't take getting an education seriously because I don't know, I didn't think it was attractive and the education I got were just kind of bits and pieces and so that was the mistake I made. But this leads me to my career. So in 2005, I met somebody at some random community event that was in the financial service industry. And I go, ooh, this is what I'm looking for. And this would give me the education, right? And so that's why I got started in financial services, hoping that by getting licenses and learning about the technical, about stocks, real estate, all these things, when I get licensed, that I would know things. Boy, was I mistaken. So what I learned when I got recruited into this, I didn't know any better. Obviously, when you're young, you don't know. It's like your first experience. So he said, hey, so he recruited me into it was a network marketing based type of financial company. So that's how I got my start. This is in 2005. So it was just one of those things where I kind of wasn't too fond of the idea of like, for you to be successful in that organization, you got to recruit people, because when you recruit people, you sell to them financial products. But that was the reality of what I realized. But how he sold it to me was, hey, you're looking for education, right? I can provide it for you. I can help you get licensed and all these things. And I said, oh yeah, this is what I need, right? I need to get licensed and learn. But really, I just learned a lot of the things it's just sales. It wasn't, a lot of it was really, it's all sales. So that was a sad part. That was a sour thing. And I left them, of course, after a year and a half. What I realized, it's like you're taking advantage of other people's ignorance. You're selling them financial products that were just terrible. And you're not really giving them education. It's almost like you're shortchanging them, because a lot of people that was in my network didn't know a lot. and they didn't have much to compare to. So yeah, it just, I don't know, something I'm not proud of, but it's something that, but because of that, I really made a serious commitment to really educate myself and had a clean slate. So I left that company and then I started my own. And so a year and a half later, I started my own practice. And so, and I said, oh my God, if these guys can do it and they're just bad, I can do it better, right? I can build it based on my values and because if they're only are offering this, by me being truly independent, I can do so much more. And I can educate myself, but now because I have licenses, I have access to certain things that I didn't have access to before. So I'm gonna really build upon it. So I made that major commitment to really take it seriously, do it full time, and got an office, and the rest was history. So, so this is what I did. I got additional securities licenses. I got my real estate license. I got my CFP, passed my board exam to be a certified financial planner. That was back in 2011. And then got my real estate license, my enrolled agent. I got every single license. That was my form of education. But along the way, I practiced what I preach. And that was really important was, there's one thing to tell people what to do, but if you're not doing it yourself, it's kind of bad. So that's really important. So that's one thing you know from me is that I made the mistakes, but what I'm sharing with you are things that I personally done for myself. And that's why this YouTube channel is a passion project for me to share my experiences so I can empower other people. But yeah, I have all those things in place. Everything from the most basic savings account for my kids or for myself, all the way to our whole estate planning, asset protection. I've done it all for myself. And so, yeah, it's been quite a journey, but I've learned from those mistakes, but those mistakes have really built me to lead myself into this career. It was kind of those good accidents, I guess. But looking back, stocks and real estate, again, I own commercial real estate, residential. I do that obviously today, but back then, hadn't I continue on with that and not just be completely discouraged by it, I would have been so further off. So what I can share is that don't be discouraged by your shortcomings or these, as a beginner, think of it, I learned from my mentor, he's like, John, that's your tuition, right? By losing $120,000, that's your tuition to learn to not make that mistake ever again, right? And again, it's a tax deduction, right? So when you have future gains, you can use that loss to offset the gain, so there you go. So think of it in that manner, stumble forward. But yeah, let's just say I have my share of tuition with the mistakes I've made, but I lost a lot of time. That's something I can never get back. But if I can talk to myself, I would coach myself, encourage myself to keep going. It's like, hey, it's like, I remember somebody showed me this cartoon where it's a person digging for gold, and he has this hole, and he's basically like a feet before hitting the chest of gold, but he said, oh, I gave up, there's nothing here. It's so sad because the cartoon shows that if he dig another 1 feet, he would have struck gold, right? So yeah, so I lost a lot of time, but hey, I think all things happen for a reason, and it's prepared me to be where I am today. I'm so grateful for all the people that has come into my life that share with me, that I've learned from, my clients, my friends, my mentors. I've learned so much, and of course, I'm grateful for those mistakes I've made. That's really built me. But that's why I have this mindset where if you stumble forward, you build upon your failures. When you lose, you always gain something, right? And that's called knowledge, right? Yes, you lose money and you lose time, but make sure you gain experience and you gain knowledge from that, and you build upon it, and you don't get discouraged and just say, oh, this is not for me or whatever. Really think about that, because look at what you did, look at what you didn't do, look at the things you could have done better, right? Really ask those things, because there are people that have success. But mind you, don't kid yourself. The majority of people that are just out there trading and doing things on apps, whatever, are losing money, and it's sad. But nobody talks about that. That's the mass majority. But yeah, but again, don't be average, right? Because then you have an average life. Anyway, so with that, I want to thank you, and please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.